Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello. I'm outside with my bear blanket and fall backdrop. So, right, every time I try to film outside, there always seems to be some sort of weird thing that keeps me from filming. And so I'm like, no, the trees have their last little bits of leaves. They're falling down. They're all like yellow and it's the last little bit of this before we head into early winter with Samhain at the end of the month. And as much as I love filming outside, I wanted to go to the park and film, but it's kind of windy today, and I thought it'd be even windier by the river because the park is by the river. And so I thought, let's just come out to the back of the house and maybe we'll see some of the critters that like to hang out here. We'll see if the wind lets my voice keep working too. We did have a little bit of a cold spell blow in. There goes a leaf. A cold spell blow in last night. So I think it's in the 40s right now, and it's a little windy, but I've got plenty of layers on. My house is like right there. If I get too cold, we'll go back inside. The only thing I can tell that might screw me is the wind and my throat. But it's Bringers of the Light Sunday. We've got a new chapter of Flying Potion to read as we take a look at the energies of that chapter and how they might play out for you in the week ahead. So, join me wherever you feel most comfortable and cozy. I've got actually this coat and another vest on underneath because I love the pattern of this jacket, but it's not very good at being like, it doesn't keep the wind out. It just looks cute. It's my Mr. Rogers sweater for inside the house. So if you're joining us on a podcast provider, welcome. If you want to see all the beautiful backdrop, this is one of the back areas of my house. That's town down below. The river's right below. So we're up looking over the valley. It's very beautiful. And before I go any further and just kind of ramble on, I'm going to wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, and a cast of many TLC for the soul guides. Here today, the clouds are so pretty. The sky is super blue. I did bring one deck out with me. Since it's so windy, I don't have a bunch of cards out. But, where are we at now? This is the Sunday right before the Aries full moon. I don't know. I just keep hearing astrologers talking about how explosive and fantastical and unexpected wonderful or powerfully tower momenty this Aries full moon is going to be. And being that, I keep saying we're going to start an astrology course, and here soon we are going to start an astrology course here on the channel. But the way I choose to look at this Aries full moon is that it's aspecting the North Node, the astrological North Node right now. The North Node is in Aries and the South Node is in Libra. And because this full moon, I think, is activating our North Node energies, and there are other things being activated with it. It's not all it might not all be hunky-dory for everybody out there, but I think for our collective, I want to stay focused on the fact that it's a super moon in Aries, the first house of the zodiac, and it's aspecting the North Node, which is also in Aries. The North Node is all about our future, our desires, what's coming, our wishes, our manifestations. And I'm going to choose to kind of look at the positive spin of it rather than the fact that, the other aspects that it's making, could have all these, detrimental impacts or whatever. I guess it's how you choose to look at it, and the perspective and the spin and you put out on it is what creates your reality, right? And the camera is shaking a little bit. There is a little bit of wind. Please don't blow my tripod over. I didn't think it was that windy, so let's just keep going and see what happens. So I want there to be minimal distortion in what we're talking about today for the week ahead. So if the guides could just help move my lips accordingly, help me stay focused so that we don't have a super long episode, because I know the majority of folks tuning into the channel, we get the most people coming in for Bringers of the Light Sunday. So I want to make it juicy and fun for everybody. The other things to take note of, I think, in terms of housekeeping is if you want more like spooky content, I don't know if it's spooky. No, it's not spooky. If you want more curated content for October, which is my most favorite month of the entire year, I do have an October Quest playlist. It's out there for Spotify and on YouTube on the homepage of my channel, or you can just go to the playlist, the TLC for the Soul playlist, in either place. And I've got, last year I did 7 days of light language healing for October. So there's 7 different light language activations out there. There's also a playlist called TLC's Favorites, I think. And in there, I don't know which one it is, but I put my most favorite channeled stories, my most favorite storytellings that I do for October, Blind Faith and Soul Shift. And if you can't find those, you can search for those. But those are like the best spooky storytellings I have for the October months. They were like, I have to like bump them every October because I recorded them many years ago. We're on the 7th year anniversary of TLC for the Soul this month on everywhere, on the podcast and on YouTube. The channel has been around for 7 years. There's tons of content out there if you're looking for content, if you're looking for messages, if you're looking for inspiration and motivation. I think I say this almost every Bringers of the Light Sunday, but I'm like, just set the intention that you're going to get a message you need or the right channeling or healing that you need, and just go to the videos or go to the podcast episodes. Just close your eyes, just scroll, put your finger down, and guaranteed you will get the message that you need, the information, the channeling that you need, the motivation that you need, the TLC pep talk that you might need for whatever show finds you there. Same thing with Instagram or TikTok, whatever social media platform you prefer. All right, let's do this first before we read Flying Potion. It's not a very long chapter. Let's just pull a couple of cards for just like the current energies and the week ahead. It's a very interesting don't blow my camera over. It's a very interesting, I'm gonna hold the tripod with my foot. It's a very interesting dynamic playing out right now. And we've got a lot of birds flying over too. We may have cameos. So we may have cameos by some of Mystic Gable's new soul friends. So I call my home. We've called each other. I call it Mystic Gables just because it is very enchanted property. It's right next to the medicine wheel, which is right up the trail, which is a Native American medicine wheel and burial grounds. They're just right there up the hill. And I was gifted this land by the guides to help be a guardian of this space, this place, and help the indigenous spirits that are up over the trail, that are there, that decided to stay on and to help take care of that space and that place, rather than going and passing on to the other side. Some of the tribe that have been there for many hundreds of years, because it's on the plaques that are up there, it says the burial grounds have been there for like is it 1,000 years that they date back? I think so. I'll have to go back up there and look. But the college owns that property and maintains and takes care of that property. And there's a lot of good information up there about that. It's a teaching space as well, because a lot of the students come up. The trails lead down to the college down below by the river, and the students come up and do a lot of like learning labs and stuff out there with the prairie grasses and a lot of the agricultural stuff that's there. I guess the prairie grass seed, they do seed collecting and all of that. But we have some new friends. So the more I enchant this property, the more I become a guardian of the land, the more I set intentions for bringers of the light, and for this space to be a big portal. Remember, if you've been here for a while, the tree up front, the only big tree right on the property up front, was the tree that chose itself to be the unicorn portal to Lyra. And over time, as we continue to work with this land and this property, some of the citizens of Mystic Gables have kind of changed. So right here is the deck. It's really old and it could really need to be painted or stained or something. This house is over 100 years old, and I think much of the things are starting to, need more maintenance, I've noticed. Even though the house is like completely flipped, like on the inside, the outside needs some work, and I had to rebuild some of the deck earlier that was crumbling by the door. But we had like a whole bunny family that lived underneath the deck here. And the more I call in the guides of Mystic Gables, the more I call in magic and mysticism and all the things I call in to enchant the lands here and to maintain what we are is like a portal. We gather the energy from above and below and we send it out. And the guides are telling me that the work that we're doing here is sending energy out at a radius of 10 miles. So I keep this space very clear, very open, and set the intention that the love, the light, the magic, the fun, the joy, whatever it is that's most needed, is gathered here in this space, like in an enchanted portal, and it radiates out. I didn't pick 10 miles. The guide said what we're doing here radiates out 10 miles. But over time, some of the spirit friends have shifted a little bit. And my son is like, it's your fault because you called in. Because I kept saying, when I do my enchantments and my incantations, I say, Mystic Gables is a place for all bringers of the light, not necessarily human beings, but the spirit friends of the land who need respite, but who also in return are going to help us raise the vibration of this place and this space, that they're welcome here. Well, in saying that, it's like, be careful what you wish for. So I've had an increase, a huge amount of cats have come, not a huge amount. I would say there's like 4 different cats that I keep seeing here. But one of them had its kittens underneath the deck. And the bunny family moved out. So the bunny family was no longer, I'm like, why am I not seeing the rabbits anymore? But I'm seeing all these cats. So back here a little bit, and they do kind of play over here. There's 4 kittens. And I'm like, I don't really feed them because I'm not asking them to stay. I don't want a kitten family. I don't want to adopt kittens. And these are wild cats. I'm not looking to domesticize them. I'm not looking to catch them in a box and go take them to the animal pound place. These cats are used to living outside, even in the winter time. So I'm just letting the mother use that space, in return for helping raise the vibration. The kittens know what they need to do. They don't need my cat chow or whatever. They know they know how to be cats in the wild. Okay, so for anybody that's freaking out, like, oh my God, it's cold and the cats and all that, no, that's not what it's about. Because I told my son, I'm like, don't touch that cat, don't pick up a kitten. I'm like, because as soon as you do, then the mom is going to think that you're taking care of it or whatever. I'm like, let those cats do what they need to do, and when they're ready, they will move on to wherever they need to go, wherever else they need to go. Oh, I'm getting cold out here. Okay, may have to move inside. Let me I brought the Modern Love Tarot. Let's see what we get about, because it's interesting we're talking about this. I don't know why this is like the topic of the week ahead. Maybe, I always say listen to the show with your master senses, watch with your master eyes, just don't just focus on me and what I'm doing. Pay attention to what's going on around or what you hear. Even the light language in my voice is meant to be, healing, uplifting, motivating. Maybe it grinds on you. Maybe you're like, she irritates me. Look at what's coming up for you and what might need to be addressed or healed, as you're listening. But let's just see what else we need to know in addition to the story. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about these cards, and I really am getting too cold. I'm going to stop, and we're going to go back up to the studio and read Flying Potion. So what do we need to know, friends? Okay, so we've got 3 cards. So they're saying the cards will kind of play into what's coming up in the story. So I don't necessarily have to sit. I'm going to show them, and because I'm starting to shiver. So I'm going to show them, and then I'm going to stop this and move inside. So the 3, this was on the bottom of the deck. The Hierophant. Oh, wow, they're all major arcana. The Star and the Devil as week ahead energies. Okay, so I'm freezing my buns off. I'm just not paying attention to the fact that I'm so cold. So I'm going to pick up, I'm going to pause this, and I'll meet you guys back inside in the studio. Oh, I'm back. Ooh, so cold. So cold. Okay, so what the heck? Let's get back to what we were talking about. Freeze warning. Oh, no. Freeze warning tonight. So it's 47 out. It feels like 36 with the wind. And yeah, we next week we have temperatures below freezing at night. But still looking pretty good during the day. 50s, 60s, a 70-degree day. I'll take it while I can get it. All right, so let's continue on. We pulled 3 cards. Oh, it's so much warmer. Oh, finally had to turn the heater on at night. Okay, so let's go back to the 3 cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to read Flying Potion. If you just got here and you're like, what's Flying Potion? So I'm also an author, an artist. I am a master healer by design. I write, one of the things I do is write channeled fiction and nonfiction books via like automatic writing. So that's how all my books are done. I don't plan books or whatever. I just set sacred space. I sit down with the spirit friends, my etheric creative team, and I sit down with the spirit friends of the books that I'm writing. I just set the intention to write a book, write a chapter, and I just type what I hear in my head through my clairaudience, my spiritual gifts. That's how I've done all my books. I have over 15 or 16 published books. One of them is nonfiction, Eat Like a Lemurian. We have our Bringers of the Light series, which is what Flying Potion is a part of. That's Bringers of the Light is like our moniker here at TLC for the Souls for. That's me, that's you, that's all of us. Light warriors, light workers, light spiritual warriors, whatever you want to call yourself. All my ebooks are free to read. Everything right now is only in ebook format because I'm still, at one day we will get around to my dream design of how I envision my physical copy books to be. But every ebook is free to read. Apple Books, Google Books, Barnes & Nobles, Kobo, my Smashwords ebook publisher. If you want to play with the stories. And slowly I'm trying to put all these on audiobook. So I will drop the next chapters of Flying Potion. But this is a story with two of my favorite divine counterparts, Abigail and Dakar. That's how the whole book series started, with Abigail and Dakar in Pumpkin Pie Latte is book number 1 in the series. I think I published that in October of 2019 or so. I don't know. It's out there. I think it's the most downloaded one, Pumpkin Pie Latte. But anyway, so that's where these stories come from. This one's Flying Potion. We just started it. We're on chapter 5, and we're working with some new folks that came in, Rory and Sunny. They've been preparing to go on Rory's dad's sailboat, the Old Sioux, in Tessa Lock. And so they stopped to have food at Crust, which is Abigail's Bakery. And they had an enchanted broccoli casserole. And they set out to go to Tessalak, which is Rockaway Point's sister city, etheric cities in the story. And they stopped along the way at a food truck to have a break, and now they've made their way to Tessalak to get on this sailboat. So just as a reminder, the 3 cards we drew, let's see how they play into this story. We're the Star. We're going to see how this plays into the week ahead. The Hierophant, it's a very Egyptian Hierophant, so that's interesting. And this Devil card is a very S&M looking Devil card. It's very interesting too. That there's all sorts of whips and chains and that little like dominatrix outfit she's got on there. Whew. Listen to these chapters with your master senses. We're going to read it just as a fun, you can just listen as a fun story. If you've missed the beginning chapters of the book, you can go back to the audiobook. Flying Potion is out there. The beginning chapters are out there in audiobook format. All of my audiobooks are in playlists in YouTube and in Spotify. I'm slowly trying to get them all out there. I actually prefer to do the audiobook over just reading the I like to do this story. I like to do the audiobooks in what I call more like storytelling versus just somebody reading some book chapters. But anyway, all right. And then we will come in and we'll suss out any metaphors that apply to the week ahead for you. Okay, let me get the birds in the fireplace. Just fire by the lake, kind of less. All right. So when we left off Abigail at her bakery crust, she had made like an enchanted broccoli casserole, and Rory and Sunny had come into her bakery crust and they had ordered the broccoli casserole. It's enchanted, and Abigail's assignment as her bringers of the light assignment, she kind of gave it to herself, was to follow this couple over the next 48 hours and see what the enchantments in the broccoli casserole had kind of brought on for them. So she'd been using like her scrying bowl or crystal ball or whatever, a scrying mirror, and just to check in on them as they were having their beans aren't burnt drinks. And she could see that everything was going okay so far. And now we're at chapter 5. So pay attention to numbers that come up. When numbers come up through the channelings, there could be very specific angel number meanings for you. Whatever stands out to you. Maybe 100% of what's here is not, a message for you, but it is a fun story at the same time. So pay attention to that. And I don't know, the shadows are playing out very interesting over here with the sun and the shadow. And then we do have Yeshua up there and a fairy ring. So, also what's happening in the background might be a message. We do have Shaman's Drum. If you didn't do the October Elder Council drum journey that we did here on the channel, then you definitely should take advantage of that. All right, this is chapter 5, Old Sioux, which is the name of the sailboat. Let's take a deep breath. Tessalak Marina was bigger than the Rockaway Point one, but still held an old charm like its smaller counterpart. Sunny and Rory arrived right on time as Talcon finished up the preparations on the Old Sioux. At 35 feet long, she was enough of a boat to be challenging, but not too small to feel like a dinghy. Talcon had stocked the fridge below deck, just as Rory had requested, with champagne, those little pimento sandwiches that seemed to go so quickly once you ate, quote-unquote, just one, and a cherry tart from Beans. Oh, wait, it's not Beans on Bird. Cherry tart is from Buns and Such, the only bakery and workout bar around the northern coast. There was the wrapped gift placed just so on the counter as one entered the boat at the front, and the hull and interior wood floors had been scrubbed, polished, scraped, and stained. Yep, the old girl was ready for this next sailing season, even if it was only for a few weeks before the marina closed up for the winter. The Old Sioux would be winter-readied and moored further inland until spring, So best to enjoy every minute of possible time, loving the weather and the water. Ooh, like we tried to do outside, it was so cold. Sunny got her overnight bag from the boot of the car, while Rory paid Talcon for his help. $2,200 and an ice chest full of oysters from the fish store, fish and chips for the eclectic, which owner Horace Brinkerton had just freshly trapped that morning. Seagulls gulled and swifts swirled around in the sky while the pair ready to push off from port. They would run the motors today and use the sail only if the winds picked up. It was blue sky, sunshine, and clear waters for miles out today. Talcon said, as he placed the ice chest on the back of his electric bike and made haste to take his own boat out on the water. His girlfriend, Katerina, not to be confused with the human-stealing fairy Cantankara, had their boat, Holy Spiritus, all decorated for Halloween. They'd grill the oysters, open a bottle of Prosecco that Talcon's father had given him for his 21st birthday 5 years ago, and watch Scream for the who knows how many times. Both couples had agreed to meet up later that day for the Tessa Lock and Argyle Inn sponsored pumpkin patch and corn maze. And maybe if they still had energy left, they'd head over to Rockaway Point for the annual WBAT 44 AM haunted house night. All in all, this autumn season had been kind to the northern coast, and the wicked storms others were seeing at this time of year had luckily passed them by. Rory and Sunny motored out of their dock slip number 235 and off into Tessellock Harbor. What they didn't see was the little boat that had also left the harbor at the same time. If they weren't careful, then they might get caught up in some unnecessary drama with this little boat. But standing beside each person, was a guardian angel, intent on keeping them safe. Which is interesting because I always channel in the next chapter title, and chapter 6 is The Boat Takes on Water. So that's supposed to be next Sunday, so I don't know what's going on there. But let's just see, how does this channeling play out with the Hierophant, the Devil, and the Star? Well, I do see this star card, like, I take this star card as a couple of different things. There's two people here, which typically there's not two people in the star card. It's more like one person with the stars behind them, and it's all about, like your wish fulfillment. But this is like two people outside laying down, looking up at the stars and kind of pointing at the stars. So you could take this in one of two ways, right? It could be like, I think there's constellations kind of showing up here as well. Oh, I see Orion. Orion has been very prominent lately, and I see Leo. Orion, every time I open my curtains in the morning, Orion has been the constellation Orion has been right outside my window, really big in the skies. Leo, that's fire energy. What do you see with the lion? And I could take this as two people together, because we do have the two couples in this chapter who are together. But I could also take this as maybe a couple, like somebody in separation or somebody manifesting a person, where, maybe you haven't manifested them yet, but you're kind of like, are we both looking up at the same stars at the same time? Like, I'm looking at the sky, is my person also seeing the moon or Orion or whatever, maybe kind of dreaming or wishing on a star? Is there a star going? There's a lot of stars. And it doesn't look like they're wishing. It kind of looks like they're like, look at that star, and look at that star, and look at that star. And even though we're not in a Mercury retrograde, and Pluto has just gone direct in Capricorn, hopefully soon moving into Aquarius next month, there's still a lot of this weird nostalgia energy, and it comes up in this chapter too. A lot of old businesses coming back. Cantankara is our fairy who is on the path of the Whistling Gulch retreat that would lure. Yeah, we have that fairy ring. This is my runaway with the Fae energy. When life gets too much, I just escape to my work. This runaway with the Fae energy with Canton Kara, because if you were walking on the path to the get the grilled cheese in our book, oh heck, I've got so many books now, but Canton Kara, her fairy ring, which would like lure you off the path, and it lured light language. It lured some people off the path. And you would like lose yourself in the fairy portal doing chores for Canton Kara. Maybe that's this devil energy, like just losing yourself in stuff you like, even if it's like maybe not good for you, or you know it's not good for you with this like dominatrix stuff here. Whoa. Because there's a lot of mentions of alcohol in this chapter as well. There's one couple has the champagne, and the other couple has the Prosecco. So I'm like, I don't personally drink alcohol, but like losing yourself in, because here's the other thing. There's this dinghy boat that's kind of following them, and I have a feeling that is like these energies coming up with this Aries full moon that we said, oh, we're gonna not focus so much on those, the anger and the whatever. We're gonna try to keep ourselves, high vibe and focus on the positive. But the energies of this Aries full moon are bringing up a lot of fire energy. And in the first house in astrology is where Aries is at, is all about the self, whatever that may mean, self-care, whatever the self means to you. Is it your physical self, your mental self, your emotional well-being, whatever. But I know, like I have an Aries moon. Aries is my moon. I'm Pisces rising, Aries moon, and Gemini sun. But when the cold weather got here, you guys know if you've been with me a while, I am not, this is not my forever home. And winter season is very, very long here, and it's not. I grew up in South Texas. I was called here by Spirit to come up here and do the next part of my journey. So I didn't choose, I didn't willingly and knowingly are two different things. But when winter comes, it gets me really like, I don't get sad like winter. I braved, like apparently according to the people that live here, the first winter I was here was like the worst winter they'd had in like very many long time. And I got through that. I thought I was going to die because it was so cold. But now I've done it. And now though, when it comes, I'm like, I'm still here. That is not my intention to be here. It's not what I'm manifesting. And so when winter comes around, I'm like, oh, another freaking winter in this place. And it is already cold. It's already, I've already had to like pull all my window ACs out and put my, get my space heaters out for the little barn area, because I do have some birds in the barn that I have to take care of and make sure that they're, not too cold. It doesn't get too cold because it's going to go down. Like January, it's going to be negative, or back to our negative 20F, negative 50F. There's 1 or 2 weeks in January where we get super cold. So I'm just like not personally looking forward to winter. And I know one of you sent me like the winter hypnosis, like how to love winter. And I said I would not diatribe on about winter, but like stuff like that now, I felt like the anger coming up, like not at anybody, but just like at the universe, like why am I still here in this situation? This is not because it's not what I'm manifesting. Like it's taking so long for these manifestations to come in. And I know some of you guys are feeling the same way. And so the only way then to you have to just release to the universe the fact that these things are taking so long. You have to, otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy and you're going to pull yourself out of a good vibration, and you're going to knock yourself down a couple of notches into a lower vibration of that you don't want to be in, and it's just going to mess you up. It messes me up now to be in that lower vibration, so I can't stay there. So I have to like release what I can't control. These are personal examples coming up because I know some of you have messaged me with some of these same things, or I see them in the comments. So I know that this is what's out there in our TLC for the Soul Collective. Like, why are these things taking so long? I've been working so hard to manifest XYZ. Why is it not here yet? That answer why is going to be different for each one of you. Some of it, it's just a matter of divine timing. Others, you have not done the work that you need to do on yourself in order to manifest what you want, and it's just going to take longer. And basically, when it gets down to that, the guides are to the point of like, you just have to freaking just suck it up and do the work. If you've been called to do work on yourself and you just are not doing it because you're like, I've been doing this long enough, well, pretty much tough. You have to, spiritual warrior, you just have to basically suck it up and do the work. So some of these things, for those of you that have been here a long time, you know, I've been manifesting some things. It's going on 4 years now, and these things have still not manifested. Are they getting close? I sure hope so. I do see in the energy, in the energetics of the situations that I look into, I do see that they're like poised and ready to manifest. But beyond that, if you don't, by the law of attraction, if you don't release your like stranglehold on them, then you're basically going to be waiting even longer, because your guides will be like, well, first of all, from an energy standpoint, you just can't manifest like that. If you're strangled on the outcomes, you have to release the attachments to outcomes and let your guides do the work they need to do to bring what you need to bring to you. But the other thing too is if you're doing that, then basically from your guide's perspective, you haven't really learned the lessons that you need to learn about patience and letting go and all that. And so you're just going to be stuck learning, basically relearning or going through more initiations and more tests to prove that you can just really let go. It's no joke. I mean, your guides are really watching. Your guides do go back and report to higher councils on how you're doing and things that you want to mount. You say you want to be a light worker and bring the light and all that. You say you want to do all these things. But if you can't show by your actions, and they're not just watching, you can't like fake it with your guides either. You can't be like, well, I'll just pretend everything's fine. And then deep down, there's like this ire, this anger inside of you, or you're pissed because you don't have what you want. Like they see all of that, right? They see your energy. They see your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body, your aura. You're not going to hide from your guides, right? And so if you're going through some sort of initiation, trial, or test, you basically have to learn the lessons. And you would need to surrender to whatever it is that you're trying to be shown that you need to learn. Otherwise, you're just going to keep looping and looping and looping and having those same lessons keep showing up over and over and over again. And then you really are going to like drive yourself crazy, because it's just, you just need to let go. And I think there's some big lessons coming up this week. I mean, Hierophant is all about being a spiritual teacher. It's about many things, but this looks very much like a spiritual teacher. We've got the Eye of Horus there. This is about inner mystery school teachings and higher learning. You know, you're gonna have to do some deep healing. This could be past life stuff that needs to be healed. And I think, let me just see if there's anything else. I think we just have to keep keeping on. And the thing that they're saying is great luck surrounds you. So for many of you, I think your karma is really, really good. And so you're not being, quote unquote, subjected to some of the other things that are happening out there in the world right now. There's always something to be grateful for. Just go look at the pictures from, people that are suffering because of the storms that are out there, the hurricanes, my son just sent me 1111. So yeah, just come back, bring yourself back into balance. Find something to be grateful for, even if it's your own health, your well-being, whatever. Treat yourself right. Manage your energy appropriately. Check in with your energy each day. Do you need to have your energy cleared each day? I think most of you are pretty on top of that, but there's some of you here. I think you're newer to the channel, they're saying, and you've still got some work to do. And we did say the channel is balanced between some very adept advanced practitioners and people that have been on their spiritual path for quite some time. Some of you even longer than me. Some of you dating back, decades and decades and decades have been doing this, and you know what you're doing. You just need those gentle pushes and gentle reminders and confirmations, and then it's fun for us to hang together as a collective. But some of you are newer to the channel, you're newer to your spiritual journey, and you've got work to do. And that's what this channel is also here to support, is helping you with healing videos, motivational talks, trying to get you on a spiritual practice where you take care of your energy every single day and you're not just there like grinding on the same old like woe is me stuff, like, I haven't manifested this yet. Why has it taken so long over and over and over again? It's taking so long. It's just going to become it's a broken record in your energy field, and it's not helping you. It's kind of to your detriment. And so we need to clear those things up. We've got light language, we've got clearing videos, but you ultimately, not me, not some other YouTuber out there, not some other healer you may go visit at the, Ren Fair or whatever. Like, ultimately, it's up to you to do the work on yourself every single day. You have to wake up with the intent that you want to feel good no matter what's happening around you. And you need to find the resources, the teachers, the people, the healers, whatever it is, to help you get there. But they're not the ones doing the work. We're just here to plant the seeds. But you've basically got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and do the work yourself every single day. Otherwise, otherwise, like my teacher, one of my spiritual teachers, Master Co, is like, otherwise, you might as well just go find another channel, because we don't babysit here. We don't, and we're not, we kind of are like a tell it like it is channel. We're not going to placate you, and we're not going to be like, oh yes, baby, it's okay. Just continue to just keep going. You'll be fine. No, you need to hear it like it is. And you need to understand that it's a lot of it is in your energy field. It's not even stuff coming from outside of you, other than whatever might be mirrored back to you about stuff you need to work on for yourself. So we're going to stop there because we feel like that's enough of a tongue lashing. For those of you that are doing the work on yourself and are staying diligent in your practice, you're going to have an easy week ahead. For those of you that need to work on yourself, it's going to be harder this week, and you might be pulled back into some old ways that are challenging for you. Maybe at that point, remember, like, hey, we're here as a resource. Maybe come back and listen to this show again later this week. This full moon is on Thursday, to help uplift you and to help remind you. It does take consistent reminders to confirmations and people helping to remind you, like, hey, keep going. It's okay. You've got this. But it's still ultimately up to you to pull yourself up and get and do the work you need to do to make yourself feel better, to help yourself feel better. Is there anything else we need to share? Okay, my guides are saying they are complete. I think we've gone on a little bit longer than we typically would. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me here. I don't know what we're bringing to you next. I think it's going to be the October healing and light language, because that's also going to help. The light language is really going to help shake things up. Do I want to do light language right now? They're saying I can if I want, but I don't have to. All right. So I'm going to wait till the next one I'll do, probably drop in the next couple of days, is the October healing and light language activations for this full moon. And until then, there's plenty of other resources out there. So we hope you will partake in whatever you most need in this now. Thank you so much for joining me here. We will see you all again soon, somewhere in the astrals at TLC for the Soul. Take care.
This episode was brought to you by Tessa Locke's very own The Fish Store, fish and chips for the eclectic. Come on in and pick up our famous order number 5, the Tor Tower, and you'll be delivered a steaming pile of crackling, crunchy fish and chips. Welcome for dinner, lunch, or anything in between. The Fish Store for the eclectic.